The SuBDivisions Show.
Oh my God, it works. At least I think it's working. It says I'm broadcasting. Welcome to the home office, which is temporarily on the bridge that Mannix ran across back in 1978, the defunct Commodore Schuler F. Heim Bridge in Los Angeles, California. That's where we're broadcasting from today. Welcome to the SuBDivisions Show. I am Chris, SuBDivisions Baldessano. SuBDivisions is my Steam name. What the hell are we doing here? It's Saturday night. What are you doing watching me? Here we are. I don't know. So, apologies to the last show last week, which I had to put up on YouTube because the YouTube Live just didn't work with Telecast or Wirecast or whatever cast I'm doing here. But apparently it's working. Of course, I've had to have it open on 12 different PCs to make sure it's working, but it seems to be working. And look, I got a green screen. And unlike Stuttering John, I don't have to move it around and crap. It's actually working. That's great. So it's a little pat on the back for me there. We have a guest going to be on today about 8:30-ish. Daniel J. Friedman, columnist from Sports Illustrated, a great kid, devout Islanders fan, knows a lot of stuff. We're going to be talking about the Kyrie Irving situation and that whole mess. So that will be quite interesting. And we're going to play around here a little bit because there are some things that I wanted to get to last week that I just didn't get to because shit wasn't working. So we're going to try a couple things. Now, being that I am producing and hosting and all this crap at the same time, you've got to forgive my eyes are going to be looking all over the place as I switch to screens and stuff and such and such and such. For example, let's go to the newsroom. Ooh, I feel a transition coming. Ooh, look. See that thing move? Whoa! Welcome to the newsroom. This is the news desk. Or something. And, yeah, so this is a nice little virtual set. Check this out. Look, this ringy thing up here that's actually kind of nifty. Hey, hey, hey. So we're going to talk about something. Listen to the 10-10 wins thing I got going on, too. Yeah, that's how we get the news in here on the SuBDivisions Show. It's live and right at you. Oh, let's see. Well, you know, the holidays are approaching us. And we might as well go to this first because a lot of people asking me this year. We'll do a little technology talk here before. Is it a good time now to finally buy a gaming PC, graphics card, etc.? And the answer to that is, yeah. Finally, ooh, look at it just appears. What can I say? Graphics cards prices are falling. They are falling big time, and people ask me, well, what's going on? What's happening? Well, the easy answer to that is you can't mine crypto easily on graphics cards anymore, at least one kind. Ethereum, which I'm sure you all have heard of, just like Bitcoin, was a cryptocurrency that you could mine using the graphics card of a computer. A couple years ago, it took off to the point where everybody and their mothers said, well, I'm going to buy these graphics cards, pop them in these little boxes called ASIC miners, 4, 5, 8 at a time, and just generate all this money. And people made a fuck ton of it. Well, Ethereum, a couple weeks ago, changed the way that you can mine Ethereum using a computer, and it's no longer viable. So now all these people who bought these graphics cards and spent thousands and hundreds and thousands and potentially millions of dollars on this stuff, it's now useless. And they're flooding the market with all these used cards. The supply-demand thing goes on, and prices fall. Here we are. Now, I'm not going to go out and say that oh, you're going to go pick up a good graphics card for your son for his computer this Christmas and spend $100. No, not happening. But you're not going to be spending the $3,000 that this idiot spent about a year ago for the current card that's in this machine over here. But prices have come down now where it's once again viable for people to go out and look for gaming rigs for the holidays. The Black Friday deals are coming out. I had a couple. Let me see if I still have them here. No, I don't. One of my friends, Bob, is looking for a graphics card. I was looking last night. Found like NVIDIA 3080 Ti's for about $950, which is still a significant investment. But back a year ago, that card was $1,800. Literally, they dropped 50%. For the past 2 years, I've pretty much been warning people away from getting a gaming PC. It just wasn't economically smart. I mean, you'd be paying $4,000 or $5,000 for a gaming rig that would have cost you $1,800, $1,900 the year before. Now we're getting back to those ranges again, where I'm getting a lot of people ask me, what should I buy? What should I look for? You don't have to go crazy when you're buying a gaming rig. You don't have to spend $7,000, $8,000 on something that's going to break the budget and all of a sudden Christmas dinner's out the window. But a good gaming rig today, I'd say, you really want high-end stuff, you can probably go for about somewhere between $2,000 and $2,500. And that is a rig that's going to last you, or last your child who's playing the games, a couple of years at least. 3, 4, 5 years. Potentially more down the road, because you could always upgrade the graphics card and extend the life of that. So it is an investment, but it's not a significant bank breaker. It is different than buying an Xbox or a PlayStation, $400 or $500 or whatever they are now. I haven't bought a console in years. And then that lasts for X amount, you toss it away and you get a new one. But so that's what you should look for. Now's a good time. You can find out all about the pre-holiday Black Friday deals. They're all over the web. Amazon, Newegg, hell, even Walmart sells some gaming rigs. So keep an eye for that. If you want, you could always send me an email. Send it to subdivisionstv@gmail.com. I'll answer it, and I'll help you out. I'll help you buy one. Not a problem. So, it looks like the desk is working. While we're here, just to let everybody know, there are new drivers that had just come out. NVIDIA put out their 526.47 WHQL drivers, which were superseded by the hotfix driver 526.61. That is the latest one. It supposedly has the fix for Call of Duty, the Modern Warfare 2. It's flashing issues. I'm running it now. I haven't had any problems. COD hasn't crashed on me or anything like that, so that's a positive. If you are an ATI Radeon user, the latest one's 22.10.3 came out a couple of days ago. Make sure you're up to the latest versions of those. And if you actually went out and bought an Intel graphics card, what the hell is wrong with you? Just leave. Go. Get away. Get out of my show. So what else is going on? Oh yeah, this is the fall weekend where we've got to turn the clocks back or ahead or back. I don't even remember. All I know is this is the time of year that when you leave work at 5 o'clock, you open the door, you walk outside, and you just go, son of a bitch. Because you get home, it's dark, and now you got to put the Christmas lights on. You can't see the wires. You're dropping tools. Well, why do they do this? It's one of those really grinds my gears type things. From what I read a long time ago, I believe it was done in like the Almanac for Farmers, the reason why they changed the clock. Hey, can't we stop this now? I mean, why? It's so nice. You leave work, it's light out until 7:30, 8 o'clock. You can go home, you can enjoy, do a couple of things. No, now you come home and you just want to go to sleep. Oh, look out. Just pop my earphone right out of my ear. I never wear these silly things, so I only do it for this. So these damn things never really stay in my ear, but oh, okay, that works. I should probably get wireless ones. Oh, well. What else we got going on today? Daniel will be joining us soon. Came across this today. this is a quite interesting thing. We're going to have a weekly segment on the show called "What's Up with Joe Biden." look at. Well, I came across this little tidbit. Thanks to the Babylon Bee for this. I think you'll enjoy this.
2016, America entered a time of darkness. We elected an orange man who was literally Hitler, and the entire country suffered under his rule. But then, America was saved. Embraced by the loving arms of our new president, Joe Biden. Biden has brought back kindness and decorum.
Liar, man. Look, here's the deal.
No, I wish you were in high school. I could take him behind the gym.
Biden is a voice of clarity.
America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to put him
A voice of reason.
He is the smartest man I know.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
And he's good with numbers.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. $700 billion and $1.3 trillion.
Under his leadership, the Biden administration has brought us safety. It has brought us economic prosperity. It has empowered the next generation. And now, you have the chance to make sure it continues for another 2 years. This election day, vote for whoever the Biden administration is asking you to vote for. They know what's best. Together, we will ensure things will continue to go the way they've been going forever and ever.
I'm Joe Biden and I approve this, wait, who? You know the thing. Lexus rent.
Did you just watch a video?
Oh, Sleepy Joe. I can't. Oh, lordy. That's where we are in this country today. If you're watching this from somewhere around the world, yeah, that's pretty true. So, that's our weekly "What's Joe Biden Doing" segment. Also, by the way, while we were talking about the holidays a minute ago, I failed to remember that looks like hammers are going to be a hot thing this holiday season. Great for home defense, apparently. So make sure you go to your local Lowe's or Home Depot or Ace Hardware or wherever quality hammers are sold, and pick your up one and just keep it by every windowsill, under your bed, in the sock drawer. May come in handy, apparently. So that's the news. Oh, we're back on the bridge. Look at these transition effects. Oh my God, I'm like semi-professional here. Unbelievable. Let's see. Let's bring up this. Or that's still going. All right. So, well, look at that shit. We're 13 minutes in, and I've blown through all my material. Hey, the World Series is on. You could always go look at that. Now, let's talk more about some Call of Duty. Sorry if I'm bouncing all over the place. Look, these are my show notes, and it's like one page of just crapola. So. But yeah, COD, let me bring up a little thingamabob here. Wait, how do I go? Here we go. The COD gameplay. Ooh, I'm going off the bridge again. Ah! It's a little loud. It's really, really good, I have to say. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, which is the same name as another Call of Duty game, I think. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. Wow. Let me lower that. Holy crap, I don't even know how I lower that. Wait a minute. Where's the...
Throwing shot stick! Throwing dynamite!
Holy crap. Okay. I think that's a little better. Yeah. So, if you got good hardware, NVIDIA GeForce 3000 series or higher, Radeon 6000 series or higher, you're going to want this game. This is everything that Battlefield should have been, continuing the Call of Duty series. It's freaking brilliant. Look at this. Oh, my God. It's craziness. I will be streaming this on Twitch. Maybe later, if the boss comes in. We may do that. Have some fun with it. It's got a bunch of different game modes. It's not only Team Deathmatch. You've got... I keep thinking Insurrection. It's not Insurrection. Forgot the name of it. Insurgents? I forgot. But it's got a couple different game modes that are play. One, it mixes AI bots and real players. Just getting up that XP. This is going to be a real hot holiday seller. You can get the Vault Edition for... It's about $109, but it'll probably drop a little bit before the holidays. I apologize if the sound on that was way too loud. Yeah, play it. I'll play it with you. Find me on Steam. Well, actually, I didn't buy it on Steam. I bought it on Battle.net. Go on Battle.net. Find SuBDivisions on Battle.net. We'll play. I'm down to play all the time. As far as any other games I could recommend for the holidays coming up, why bother? It's the only one I want to play. They still don't have a damn baseball game I could play for the PC. I'm going on... What, last one was MLB 2K12, I believe. How pathetic is that? I mean, I could go on a rant about it, and I will, but I'll hold that for the next show. Let's see. I'm still waiting for Daniel to pop in. The chat is open. You can hit me up on the YouTube chat if you'd like to discuss a topic or anything. Let me see what else that I wrote down here that I wanted to discuss. That I already did. I want to hold all the Kyrie stuff for Daniel. Okay, I'm lost. Let's just watch this guy play Call of Duty. I never knew the lean like that. I gotta lean a little more. I have it bound, but I never do it. I'm curious what kind of hardware this guy is running as he's playing. Oh, nice hop across. Yeah, you knew where those bullets were coming from. Spinning around and going pew, pew, pew. Oh, little thermal nade. Oh, those are so badass when you burn somebody. Oh, it's such a fun game. And don't give me that whole, oh, this promotes violence. It makes kids violent because it's a... No. This makes kids into a man. Puts that hair on your chest. Yeah. So, let's see what else. You know what? I'll tell you what we'll do. Let's look at the current news. Let's see. Let's go to minimize this. See, this is what I got to do when I do stuff. Oh shoot! Do I have a? I don't think I have a window for that set up yet. See, these are all things that I'm learning as I'm going along with this. There's so much setup and so much time. That's why it's got to be unbelievable what Garrett and Steve and Drew does for Anthony behind the glass. Setting up all these shots and graphics and to have this go there and that go here. Damn, this takes a lot of time. But I'm glad that it's actually working. Because I've sat this stuff here for so long not doing anything, and here we're doing stuff. If you would like to be a guest on my show, my calendar seems to be wide open. So just email me, text me, call me, send a carrier pigeon, send me a pizza. And you can come on. I'll do a show anytime as long as I'm not working, which is usually only about a half an hour a day. Oh no, all the ice in my cup went. You ever see these cups that change colors when the... Oh, it's green. You can't see the cup. Look, I forgot about that. Son of a bitch. Oh, this guy's still owning face. He's not as good as me. What are you crawling? Get up. Go find the people. Shoot them. Come on. I hate people that waste time. Oh, he had a box there. Okay. Oh, he's got a chopper. Oh, here it comes. All right, let's see what he does with the chopper gunner. Chopper gunners are so badass. Oh, yeah. Look at him. Look at him. Zooming in. Come on. Where are they? They're hiding in the buildings. Oh, the rocket. Oh. Oh. Yeah, baby. Get some. I got 47 confirmed kills. Like who would not want to play that? You know, I know you got E-Rock who likes to play Sea of Thieves, and he's out there swabbing the poop tech on the high seas, doing the same thing over and over. And you can see this is kind of repetitive too, in a way. But it's just much better. Play. So. Let's see. Let's go to... You know what? I could probably go here. Let me see. Close that out. Okay, so I got a... Oh, you know what I can do? I know what I can do. Hang on. We're going to do a little finagling with my... Where's my... Freaking... Oh, that's not it. That's... Sorry, I'm trying to... Ah, there it is. And this one I'm going to hide. And... Alright, so let's go here. Enough of the COD. I'm curious if this actually works. Oh, it does. So, let's see. So we're going to grab... This is where I get most of my news from. Citizens Free Press. Great website. Obviously right-leaning a little bit. But has a lot of great stuff on here. Oh, look. Chuck Norris endorses Blake Masters. Oh, okay. Let's see. All the stuff in red is the highlighted stuff that you want to read. Oh, look, the DOJ is preparing to indict Donald Trump. Where does this end? Why? Our government, and again, this is for people around the world, our government in the United States of America wastes so much money on absolute bullshit. Both sides, Republicans and Democrats, and the Green Party and the Libertarian Party and the Fart Party, they're completely worthless. They say government for the people. The guy didn't do anything. He made the country better for 4 years. People's 401ks were up. The attitude of the nation was actually trending in a positive direction. People had a positive outlook. Then the whole COVID thing happened, which can be a whole nother discussion another time. And now we've got President Biden in there, and this country's a shit show. It's an absolute shit show. Crime is rampant in every major city. It's not safe to go out anymore. Look, I have 2 kids. My kids are adults now. They're both over 20 years old. I still have so much fear when either of them just have to go out to work. Thankfully, they're not in the school system anymore, because I don't know what I would even do to handle that. Anybody who has kids in the school system today, I feel so bad for you. This is such a horrible time for kids growing up in just a real crazy time. Future generations are going to be screwed. I don't know what we're gonna do about that. But let me close all this stuff up here. What else is all floating? I like how I could move this box around. This is pretty nifty. See, I always wondered like how, like Chrissy on her podcast, she brings up the screen and stuff. Now I see how they do it, but obviously they have someone else helping them to do it. She has Frank and stuff like that, and they do such a great job. And then you have idiots like Stuttering John who are just a mess. But I know there's no way in hell he's doing that shit by himself. So I'm tapping myself on the back here. It's working out fairly well. So Daniel said he'd be home very shortly. So again, we're just waiting for him to pop on in, and we'll have a nice discussion with Daniel. I'm going to keep that one for when he's here. Oh yeah, here's news. Sadly, Aaron Carter, brother of Nick Carter, right, from the Backstreet Boys, dead at 34. I don't think this is a shock to anybody. Sadly, we know the guy had issues for a long time, mental issues. I don't know. I guess he had drug issues. I don't know. I don't know the story behind him. And I believe he has a child. Yeah, Aaron's fiance, Melanie Martin, tells TMZ, my fiance, Aaron Carter, has passed away. I love Aaron with all my heart, yada, 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 yada. Supposedly he was found in the bathtub, and he drowned. So, I don't know, but I guess he got high and decided to take a bath, or got high while he was taking a bath, but who the hell takes baths anymore? Swimming in your own filth. But yeah, sad story. I mean, you see stuff like this, and you know that these kids, they grow up in this strange kind of atmosphere, being a celebrity. Obviously, his big brother was a celebrity, and he kind of coattailed on that. The same way that Andy Gibb grew up with the Bee Gees, the Barry, Robin, and Morris, as world-known celebrities, and Andy fell into the whole cocaine thing, and always seemed to have that I want to catch up to where my brothers were. And stuff with Aaron Carter seems to have that similar feeling. Too young. What was he, 35? 34. That's a shame. That's a damn shame. I didn't know any of his music. I didn't listen to any of it. Not to my genre. But, yeah, that's a shame. What else is going on in the news? Here's something I love to do every day. I always start by going to CNN. I want to see what is on their homepage, to see what is happening from the left. 5 states will consider legalizing recreational weed. Well, if you're from New York, you can't step outside without smelling that shit. So, and I believe... Hang on, I believe our guest is about to join us here. Let me bring up my old window. Let's see here. La la la. Oh, I believe we're going to bring him in. Let me get the other screen up so I can actually make this work. Where is it? I gotta move this window here. I got 17 screens and I need another one. It's incredible. So this one is going to go to here. Just bear with me 1 second. Daniel. Oops. Oh, see, I goofed on that. Where's my keyboard? Let's move this here. I done goofed. Hang on. Let's get rid of this. And let's go. Okay, here we go. So let me see if this actually works. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Why did that come up on my screen? There's a commercial on my screen. Joining us now, writer, Islanders extraordinaire, Daniel J. Friedman. Daniel, can you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing?
Beautiful. Do you have an echo, or is that just me?
I think it's just you.
It's just me. Okay, I'll live with it. Dude, it is so nice to see you. It's so nice to talk to you. I have been talking to you for a couple of years now on Twitter. You can find him at Dan J. Friedman. All the Islanders stuff. And just always a pleasure to have you aboard.
Thank you. Likewise, yeah. It's been more than a couple of years now. I feel like it's scary to think about. It's almost been like 10 years. Yeah, I think that's when we started talking, but this is the first time we finally sort of met face to face or spoken in an actual non-digital manner. So
yeah, this is very true.
Yeah.
So I brought you on because one of the hot topics that I would like to discuss, and I'm going to let me bring you up on this whole production I'm doing here is such a shit show, honestly, but I'm making it work. Wait, where are you here? I gotta find you here. There you are. Because look, I'm a professional at this, man. There we go. Oh, see, I added a layer instead of removing the layer again. Hang on. Gotta replace layer. There you are with Daniel. There you go. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to discuss with you, and that was hot the other day that we were talking about on Twitter. Ooh, look at the graphics move. I love that. The whole Kyrie Irving situation. Now, you obviously being a man of the Jewish faith, this hit home harder than it would hit me or other people not. I would like to get your thoughts on what you felt about this whole thing, how you think that they've handled the situation. The floor is yours.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, so Kyrie Irving, obviously, so what he did, obviously, was, I thought, very wrong. I don't know where it started from, if he thought it came from a good place, and maybe he's just trying to discover his past or whatnot. But the bottom line is he ended up sharing a link to it, or promoting a documentary that basically contained a lot of falsehoods about the Jewish faith, namely that Jews worship Satan, that the Holocaust never happened. I'm pretty sure there are quotes that are attributed to Adolf Hitler throughout that documentary and book. It's not good. Whatever the attempt or whatever the reason for it was, it's not good. So, you had that, and the biggest issue really came up when Kyrie was asked about it and didn't back down, and not only didn't back down, but refused to believe that he was promoting anything, even though he's got a platform of, that and a following of millions of people. And B, since that he put it out there, why else would he have put it out there if there wasn't a point to it? Is he tweeting out links to random documentaries every day, or was this just like, there was a reason why he did it.
That's a big question. I don't understand it as well. I mean, I was reading before that I know that Brooklyn itself has a huge Jewish population. New York City, I believe, is the second biggest Jewish population in the entire world.
It is.
So he plays for the Brooklyn Nets. What are you possibly thinking that there could be any good coming out of that? I mean,
I can only. It's good no matter where he plays for, but.
Right. It made no sense to me. Now, I know he's kind of a controversial type guy. He seems to be very, I don't know if you put a word on it, flaky, fluty, whatever you want to call it. And he's the destroyer of franchises, now on number 3. But do you think that the Nets have, I don't want to say handled this properly, because how do you handle something like this? There's no written book that says, okay, if this happens, then you've got to go about this route, and suspensions, fines, whatever. What do you think that they've done the right thing here, or do you think there should have been more done?
I think it's more about, I think what they ultimately ended up doing at the end is what should have happened. I just think it came too late. Meaning, it seems like they were giving him every opportunity in their defense, right? They gave him, they probably sat there and said, he's a big deal, right? He's not just some bench player. We're not just going to suspend him. But I think, in the interest of fairness, I think they were trying to give him a chance to apologize. They put him in front of cameras 2 or 3 times, right, in that span, and every time he was asked about it, he had an opportunity to walk it back and say, I'm sorry, that was wrong, and he either doubled down or stopped short of apologizing every single time. And I think that's when the Nets finally threw up their hands and said, well, now we have to do it, right? And he's clearly not getting it, so now we're going to suspend him.
Right.
But
it obviously would have been a lot better had he just come out with that when it originally happened, while the iron was still hot. Waiting a couple days, it felt like it was, okay, let's put the undue pressure on him to make him say this, but he doesn't really feel it. He's just doing it to appease the masses. That's always the problem when you're dealing with a public figure. And as I discussed with you on Twitter before, there is kind of a double-edged sword here, only in the fact that what he said is not illegal to say, what he promoted is not illegal to promote, but yeah, it's not the right thing to do, especially in today's age, the way that the world is so much smaller because of the internet. Hey, look at us. It definitely would rub so many people the wrong way. Your thoughts?
Yeah, for sure. It's not illegal, and nobody's suggesting that he should be jailed or anything. I think the idea, though, that there's consequences for what you say is, as I told you, right, is concept as old as time, right? If you say something bad now to your boss, there's a good chance you're going to lose your job. If you rub people the wrong way, they're not going to want to hang out with you. There's been consequences for words for all of human history. Whether or not you're arrested and jailed for it is obviously a different matter, and that's where freedom of speech comes in. But
and this is, evidence number 1 of one of the negative things that the internet has done to this age. If this was 50 years ago when the internet didn't exist, anybody outside of the inner circle would have not heard about this. Not saying that that's right or wrong, but now, being that everything, news travels so fast, from people go from 1 to 100. Now, the fallout from this, obviously, too, for him personally, is starting to take effect. As I brought up here, that there was a Nike here has suspended ties with him and are cancel. Oh, come on, ad! Look at the ad. They're suspending his next shoe release. So, look, the guy has made hundreds of millions of dollars, I'm sure, up to this point, between the Nets, the Cavaliers, and the Celtics. So it's not like, oh, Nike's canceling my shoe, I can't put bread on the table.
Right.
But, I mean, is it enough? This is not exactly hurting him or teaching him a lesson. I don't know if you really can with a person of his stature, being that public, being that rich, to make him really feel the pain that he has given to other people.
I don't know if you can. I also don't know. I mean, we know with Kyrie, and not just with this issue, with other issues, right? He believes what he believes, and he's a very stubborn individual, right? He stands by his, I mean, right during the whole vaccine thing, he could have capitulated and said, "Fine, I'll get vaccinated," but he stood his ground and he didn't play home games. Like he's a stubborn guy.
Right.
So I think it's, which is also why I don't buy the apology, because I don't know, traditionally, the way I felt is if somebody asks you, are you an anti-Semite? The answer to that question, unless you're an anti-Semite, should be no. It's as simple, right? I'm not an anti-Semite. It was so easy to say. And they handed that to him on a silver platter so many times. All he had to do was say no. Are you an anti-Semite? All he had to do was say no. And he couldn't do it. To me, when someone does that, it's kind of a sign that they're probably an anti-Semite, because they're making excuses for it and this and that. Whatever, Adolf Hitler had plenty of excuses, I'm sure, for what he did and said about Jews, but doesn't make him any less of a garbage human being.
It amazes me with Kyrie because it part of me feels like he's just doing this just to be the opposition, to say, I don't want to go with the norm. I want to stand firm and I want to stand up against this, that, or this because they are accusing me of this. Now, he did come out and said that he was falsely accused of being an anti-Semite. Again, only he knows if that's truth or not. Can't tell what's in the guy's head. But everything today is about public perception. The Nets have a player on their hands who's now suspended, who is, I believe, as I brought up his salary here, I believe he's on the last year of his deal. He's a unrestricted free agent in 2023. So going forward, what team is going to pick him up to actually play? But he has made, to this point, $136 million. I don't think he's going to have a problem with that.
No, he should be able to retire comfortably, I mean, I don't think, I'm not looking for him to, honestly, I don't want his life ruined per se, but I mean, I don't think it's too much to ask for an organization to suspend a player when the player has been given multiple opportunities, more opportunities than a role player would have gotten. Let's be honest. We saw what happened with Myers Leonard. Oh, yeah. Right?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
He was treated very differently. And had Myers Leonard been a star, it would probably have been something similar to this. So he definitely got preferential treatment because of that. This guy was given every opportunity to walk it back. I don't have any problem with there being consequences for that. I think it's fair. I think it's justified.
I think
hopefully
I think
overly nice about it and overly generous.
I think hopefully this is maybe one of those things where you see the door swinging the other way in the whole cancel culture element that we've lived in the past couple of years. Everybody makes mistakes. We know that. Whether he believes this is a mistake or not, it's something that he can make up for, something that he can turn. It's hard to turn something like this into a positive, but if it actually turns himself around where he looks inside of himself and says, look, I hurt some people. I've got to change the person in here. Make tomorrow a better day. Hey, it's all got to start someplace. And that's what I hope comes from this. I have nothing against Kyrie Irving personally. I never saw the tweet. I don't follow him on social media. He can call me a schmuck for all I care. It makes no difference to me. But I think of it in the same way. Let's say if Aaron Judge did something like this, how would I feel as a Yankee fan? How Nets fans must feel having him on the team. And yeah, that would be kind of a problem. I wouldn't want him to obviously do it. And there's this whole, you have this perception of your team that they have standards, and they don't do things like this to really piss people off for no other good reason. So if it was Aaron Judge that did this, I would probably think that I wouldn't want him on the team anymore. So that's why I would think that a lot of the Nets fans are probably very conflicted. Look, the Nets are not really good this year; they're really stinking it up. But and he's not going to come back next year. But now, like, you can't even trade him now. What are you going to do with him? You're going to let him walk via free agency because who's going to take him?
Yeah, it's a toxic asset. You almost have to release him basically at this point.
That's
and
brutal.
I'd say it's self-inflicted, unfortunately. He like I said, he had every chance to take care of this and put it behind everybody, and he just blew it. Whether willingly or not, he blew it.
So in effect, by the words that he said, he has hurt himself, he's hurt his brand, and now he's also hurt the net fan outside of the Jewish net fan, just the other religious net or non-religious net fans who now are going to lose a player that could have got a monster return back for him. He's now hurt the team going forward. He's hurt it. It's like a mushroom cloud has gone off, and it's compensating everybody.
Mutually assured destruction, 100%. So yeah, it's a sad story. That's honestly what I feel like. Obviously, I'm angry about what happened, but I'm just sad. This is all avoidable, and I mean, I think, with better education on his end and with some remorse, I think, it's sad. And now you see, he's imploding, and we saw the same thing with Kanye West. He's imploding, And
now,
there are consequences for your actions. That's always been true.
Now,
I liken it to, I kind of look at it as like, okay, right? Cancel culture in general, right? I would say it's gotten far away from what the idea was, right? Like the idea that if, let's say, so and so is gay, and I say something not nice about them, nothing to do with them being gay, and they turn around and say, well, you're just saying that because you're a homophobe, and then I get canceled for that. That, I would argue, is an extension of cancel culture that has happened. We've seen that kind of thing happen in society, and that's out of control. The idea that if you go out and basically share a documentary that says the Holocaust didn't happen and Jews are Satan worshipers, and then you, given chance, you don't apologize for it, yeah, I think you should have consequences. I think that's a reasonable place to draw the line in the sand.
Right,
So,
and this feels different in the fact that you've had a lot of celebrities go out there and accidentally hit the retweet button on something that they didn't pay attention to or whatever. But it generally feels like he knew what this thing was about. So when he put it out there, it wasn't just like, he's flipping through the phone and he's a popular guy and he's got things scrolling and he accidentally hit the button. This felt like he thought about it before he did it.
He did, and he doubled down when asked to walk it back. He doubled down, and that's Kyrie's thing, right? He always acts like he's the smartest guy in the room, even if he has no idea what he's talking about. It's sad. It's sad to watch, honestly.
It is. What was your initial reaction when you first heard about this and first saw it?
I was very upset. That he would do that. Especially because it just came off the heels of the Kanye thing. I think that made it worse. But I would have been upset either way. It's sad. I was upset because, it's these are views that people hold about Jews, and it's scary that people think this.
That's what drew me to wanting to bring you on today, because I have never seen you on Twitter have such a reaction to something like that, and it made me take a step back and realize, like, look, I'm not a Jewish person, I'm a Christian, I'm not a religious person to say, but if somebody, you really don't see that on my side of the aisle too often, or maybe I don't pay attention to it, but to have that much of a personal effect from words that somebody else said, that really, like, it hit me, and I was like, wow, I didn't realize that it could have such a profound effect on someone like yourself, who was always kind of jokingly quiet type on Twitter, and all of a sudden I'm reading this, I'm like, wow, there's some daggers there. That really hit him hard.
Yeah, you gotta understand. So, my grandfather went through the Holocaust. A lot of my family went through the Holocaust. My grandfather's family, a lot of it was wiped out. So, you meet a Jewish guy, a good Jewish person, there's a good chance there's a connection there. So that's number one. Right? There's some connection to persecution and, whether it's someone who went through the Holocaust or someone who escaped the Soviet Union or somebody who escaped persecution in Iran or Iraq, or, everyone's got, a lot of Jews have stories, even if it's just someone who broke, like my other grandfather grew up in Brooklyn and dealt with, anti-Semitism there. It's something that is very personal because we're connected to that kind of, discrimination, hate. It's in our blood, unfortunately. It's a family, it's a tradition almost, unfortunately. And so
it's very unfortunate, but I'm glad that you took the steps and you talked about this on Twitter so that people who do follow you and people who see this will understand just how much of a profound effect something like this has on the Jewish community, and just the human community, outside of religion. Everybody's got to be better. This country's gone into a place now where everybody's butthurt over everything. There's too many people going crazy, so much mental instability out there. But I hope that from this people will kind of take a step back and say, all right, tomorrow we got to start doing things a little different here because it's not working this way. And speaking of working, I want to segue into something else. My Islanders. I don't even know. Are you still living in the area?
I moved down to Miami.
What the hell are you doing in Miami?
What?
What are you doing in Miami?
Escaping New York. That's what I'm doing.
You're so smart. You're so smart that you got out of this state. I swear. I would move out of here in a heartbeat if I didn't have family here. So when did you move down there?
In September. So yeah, I've been trying to do it for a couple years, and time is right, and so yeah, I'm finally down here.
I'm happy for you. I'm so happy that you're in a much better place. Did you happen while you were here to go to the UBS Arena?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
I haven't gone yet.
You gotta go. It's funny.
Probably January. I think I'm going to get tickets for a game in January. I'm looking so forward to it. I heard the parking is an absolute nightmare. $30 to park.
Yeah, it's not
$30.
The Coliseum is also artificially lower than most places. I think we were spoiled with that. The parking prices at the Coliseum.
Talk about spoiled. I mean, it was a couple of years ago, but there was a game that I went to, and we're talking about the New York Islanders, the hockey team, for those of you who are on another planet, that I remember it was my birthday, and StubHub sent me a thing that said, hey, it's your birthday, you get X amount of dollars off, whatever. So I went on, I bought 4 tickets in section 2 something up in the Coliseum. The 4 tickets combined was $18, and the parking was $20. I'm not finding that at the UBS Arena.
No, definitely not. But it's worth it. It's worth the parking. It's a gorgeous arena. And I'll tell you what, like I went to when the Islanders were down here, they played the Panthers at the beginning of the season. So I went with a fellow Islander fan, and there were a lot of Islander fans there. But,
wow.
We were talking about it, and we're like, we were talking about how it's weird to go to an away game and come out of there and say, the Islanders have a nicer arena. It was such a weird, I didn't even know what to do with that emotion.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because you used to, for so many years, you're comparing it to the Coliseum. It's dumb, and they're like, oh, you wish you had this. But I actually left, the Panthers arena, and I'm like, and I'm realizing UBS arena is nicer.
Now, are you still, being you're down there since September, you haven't been down there that long, but are you still following everything New York sports-wise, like when you were here, or do you have different projects now that you're doing down there?
Oh no! Of course. And I got all the, the MSG Go and everything, and I wouldn't miss it. So no, yeah, of course not.
So what do you think of the team this year with what's his name, Lane Lambert coaching, and Lou still behind the bench at GM? Do you think they've got a chance?
A chance at what? Next question.
It's better than 15 years ago when I didn't know if it even had a chance to skate on the ice. But
yeah.
I mean, they've been playing better lately. I keep wondering. You're always great to listen to read your Twitter stuff on the Islanders and Jeff Capellini's stuff. You guys always, to me, seem to be the ones that are in the know. I know you're not in the locker room, but like like Staple and stuff like that. But you have such great views and outlooks on what's going on with the team. I feel like knowing you, I got a little into what's going on in there.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment, so thank you. I think it's interesting. I think, you kind of try to identify a bottom and you try to, floor and a ceiling. I feel like the beginning of the season when they were really struggling, that's probably what the floor looks like. I think their winning streak is probably what the ceiling looks like, and that and the 7-1 win against the Ducks I would throw in there as well. I would say they're somewhere in, that in-between space. I think that's where they're going to reside most of the time. Like, solid team. They've got some talent. I think they should be a playoff team. They should be on paper. How much more than that, I don't know. And I would say probably not a ton unless they make some additions. But I think I don't, unless everything goes horribly wrong. And to be honest, at the beginning of the season, I kind of, I said this kind of based on the fact that maybe their window is not fully closed yet, but the start of the season had me thinking maybe it's closed, but I'm not sure that it is yet, especially if Sorokin is just going to carry them on his back, the way he has. I mean, we've seen it all the time. How many times have we seen a goalie carry his team to the playoffs? It's happened countless times, right? So, I mean, Sorokin's good enough to do it.
Yeah,
not that he really needs.
He's solid.
He's more than solid, But that defense is pretty solid. Like they have some pieces. It's not like I don't look at them the way I look at the teams that I'm. You're talking about first overall pick. Like they shouldn't be in that conversation at all. So I think we should be a playoff team. I don't know. I just don't know how much more than that they are. Like, I think that's the trick.
Do you think changing Barry was really warranted off of the impossible season that they had during the lockout and the COVID stuff? The whole arena not being built, the road trip, that whole thing. It felt like it was a lost season, but Lane has obviously inherited a team that 2 years ago was a top flight team.
Right.
Do you think that the coach really needed to be let? Oh, I know they said it was kind of a mutual thing, I believe.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was warranted. I don't know how mutual it was either. From what I understand, and this is just based on what I've heard, there was pretty much a mutiny. And
it was.
Yeah, from what I understand, there was internal conflict between one of the team's best forwards, and I'm not going to name names, but you can just guess who that is, and Trotz, and there was like a big fight of some sort, and a lot of conflict, and from that point on, there was just not the same connection, and basically some of the younger players came in to Lou and said, "We need to change."
Wow, I did not know that.
From what I understand, again, I don't know 100% that that's what happened, but from what I understand, and I think it's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Why they would get rid of a Hall of Fame coach like that. So, I think that's what happened. So, and it could be he was burnt out also, right? He also had a rough go, right? Didn't he lose? He lost his mother, right?
Yeah, there was some background there that I know I read afterwards.
There. Right. So maybe he wasn't at 100%. Maybe his head wasn't in it. And it's not like he snapped up and got back up and dusted himself off and got hired by another team right away. So maybe he wasn't ready. Maybe that's the mutual agreement part. Maybe it's he realized he's not in the right place to be coaching right now. So maybe it wouldn't have worked out anyway. But I do think that I tend to think that if it was between some of those younger players and him, I would have traded the players and said, okay, I'll go get players that want to play for him because he knows what he's talking about and you've done nothing, Like, what has Matt Barzal done in the NHL?
Right.
Really? Comparatively, what has he done? Barry Trotz has won a cup. He knows what it takes. He's been through shit, right?
Yeah. I was amazed when they actually got Barry Trotz. I hated Barry Trotz before he came to the Islanders. I hated him.
Really?
Because he was somebody who won who we didn't have. I didn't like the way he looked. I didn't like his team. And then all of a sudden he came in and I was like, dude, we got Barry Trotz.
Yeah. Right.
It was crazy. Because I look at all the coaches this team has had. And look, I'm not the world's most knowledgeable Islander fan. I've only really been a fan watching the team probably for about the last hardcore about the last 8 or 9 years, I'd say.
Wow.
Before that, I've been to a couple Islander games. I knew LaFontaine, I knew Tracci, I knew Bossi, I knew that whole history. I was not old enough when the dynasty happened, so I didn't know anything about those years until a little way later. So when I kind of watched them with my friends when I was graduating high school in the early '90s, they were a good team, but they were never a championship team. So as I've grown and watched them over the years, I say to myself, okay, so you got the Yankees, Mets, Knicks, Nets, Giants, Jets, Islanders, and Rangers. Out of all the teams in this area, if I ever saw the Islanders win a Stanley Cup, I would actually cry. I would have tears. I've seen the Yankees win now, a bunch of championships since '96. I would even say if the Knicks even won a championship, I wouldn't feel as much as I feel for the Islanders, just because of the whole angst the team has had that now no longer exists because we actually have a home. But I don't know. It's just I watched the 1980 Game 6 when Nystrom hit the goal and on the pass from Tonelli, and a tear always comes down here because I see the camera pan to the crowd, and the emotion is going crazy. Now I've seen that once. I don't know if you remember, I was at Game 6 for Islanders Lightning. What was that? 2 years ago, at the Coliseum. When Beauvillier hit the overtime goal, I was on the. I don't have it. I have one copy here somewhere. My picture is on the back page of the Daily News.
Really?
Yeah, it's just me. I went with Evan Roberts, who got the tickets. We were sitting there. So Evan and I and a couple other people from FAN were to our left. And when that goal happened, it's funny because as you remember the old Coliseum, we were sitting right in the first row in the corner of the glass where it turns. And you have that wood kind of platform that you're sitting on. So when Beauvillier scored the goal and I jumped up, I had this fear come over me that I'm going to be seen on camera and I'm going to miss the wood that I'm about to land on, and you're going to see me face plant into the glass, which almost happened. But I looked around me, and I'll never forget this for as long as I live. And I can't ever thank my friend Evan enough for taking me to that game and having this. When I looked up, and the net is there in front of the glass, and outside of the beer cans and the beer and the popcorn and things that were just flying everywhere, I've never been in a place where I have actually felt that much joy. It was beyond an emotion. Everybody was hugging, was screaming, was crying, was throwing things. It was absolute bedlam. And I will never see that again, probably for as long as I live. But to have that moment where I stood there in the Coliseum and I remember just looking around like this and soaking it in, because I was like, dude, this is it. This is the pinnacle. This is like they just won the Stanley Cup on an overtime goal. This would be the same type of thing. It was absolute insanity, and I would love to see that again, just on TV.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's everything that they've been through, and forget the fact that they're an underdog franchise, right? It's the fact that they almost didn't exist anymore so many times. They've almost dragged out of the mud and dusted themselves off and cleaned off, and now they have a new arena, and it has a happy ending to some extent, but it's not the ultimate happy ending, yet. And it would be special. It would be special to see them come back from that, and It
would be. And when they opened the arena, they did a really, really great thing. I think the first thing, the paying homage to Charles Wong. I don't think people, they tend to forget, but just how important he was in keeping this team here. Because, you've lived here, you know what it's like on Long Island. Nothing here on Long Island makes sense. We only have 17 arenas now in this area and 1,700 mini malls that are now pretty much all going bankrupt. In fact, the Massapequa Mall is closed. They've actually closed it. What they're going to do there, I have no idea. But so you had Wong, who went through this whole thing with Hempstead. I'm not even going to mention her name because I'll start tossing the fat pig around. But you know, he wanted to build something here for the people to enhance the area, bring jobs, the whole lighthouse project. I was so on it, and I'll tell you what I did, which is funny. There is a place here in Deer Park called the Heartland Golf Center. It's this nighttime golf thing where you can actually play golf at night, and it's a business center. The man that owns that is a guy named Jerry Wolkoff. I looked it up. He's a huge real estate business developer on Long Island, big time. So during the whole process of not knowing where the Islanders were going to be before the UBS Arena was built, I came up with this brilliant idea. I say, look, I'm on Long Island all the time. I live here. I drive here. There is the Pilgrim State Mental Hospital, which has been abandoned since I believe 1976. It's a 550-acre land that's just sitting there dormant. I accidentally drove through it once at night. I made a wrong turn. It is a scary freaking place. Do not go there at night, I'm telling you, even now. So I found out that this guy, Mr. Wolkoff, had bought a huge chunk of the property and was given permission by Riverhead, which is the town that owns the land or whatever, that develops the land or whatever, to put this huge thing called the Heartland Town Center there, a $9 billion project of rejuvenation, renovation, this whole thing. So I called his office one day. I got his secretary, and I was like, yeah, I'm just calling. Look, I don't have any press credentials or anything like that, but I would just want to ask Mr. Wolkoff a question about the Islanders. And she's like, okay, I'll take your number. So about 2 days later, I'm at lunch with my parents, and I get a call on my cell phone, and it's Jerry Wolkoff's secretary. He's like, yeah, I got Mr. Wolkoff on the line for you. I'm like, oh, okay. So I started talking to him, such a nice man. And I asked him straight out, I was like, listen, if people came to you with an idea of putting an arena on the land that you bought, would you entertain the idea? And he said to me, he's like, look, I don't want to say anything on the public record, but I'll say that if they approached me with it, I would definitely have an open mind about the project. So here I am trying to reach out to a guy who owns all this land just out of nowhere to see if he'd put a 20,000 seat arena in the middle of the land he just bought to keep the team here. That's what I do. So, I mean, I was so gracious that he talked. And you talked to me for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we were talking about the team and what he feels about the whole lighthouse thing, and he kept up to date with it and stuff like that. So I thought it was the perfect scheme scenario, because look, you got the LIE, you got the Ocean Parkway, the Southern State, the Sagatoes, it all fit. It had rail access that was already there. They just had to build the whole Elmont train station to get to UBS Arena and made it a major hub. Well, there were already train tracks that went to Pilgrim State. Just turn them back on. Build a nice little thing. And think about this. You could have had an arena there called like the Asylum. The mental asylum for the Islander fans. You have people coming down in lab coats to bring you food and stuff like that. Oh, we could have ran with this. I had an entire thing built. But look, I'm so happy it worked out the way it is. I definitely am going to go to a game in January. And from there, for a couple, I actually wanted to look into getting a ticket package from them. But
it's gorgeous. You got to go. And
I will definitely go.
Speaking of which, by the way, first of all, I totally agree. The Islanders wouldn't exist if not for Charles Wang. That's number one. But what they also did at the beginning is make it very, very clear. You know, a lot of these new arenas open, and it's very corporate, and it's very, you know, the fans are taken into account, but they are not necessarily the most important thing. Right. You walk into UBS Arena, you'll see it. But I remember the first time I walked in there, you have these giant banners, you know, at one end of the ice with all the Islanders meetup group logos from across the country and the world. You have the top ring. I don't know if it's still the case this year, but at least last year, the top ring of the arena was covered with signs that fans made and painted, like kids made them. And like,
that's awesome.
It's just such a nice touch, and like you wouldn't see this anywhere else. So it was such a fan-centric, like it was so. The owners knew that we've been waiting for this forever, that we've been through so much. And it was almost like this was our party. They like, go ahead, go crazy. Like, this is for you, you know? I almost started
That's
crying.
awesome.
In there. It was like, it's just
That's absolutely awesome. Considering that this building, and for those that don't know, it's located on Elmont, which is a rural town just outside of Queens in Nassau County. It's basically in the middle of a residential area. What Belmont Park is, the horse racing track. They built onto it, and the surrounding town around it. There was a lot of fight that it's going to bring too much traffic. It's going to bring too much noise. In fact, I had heard that there was a no honking policy, because all the Islander fans do the din, 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 din on the horns before they leave. But people have embraced it. It's been good. The arena's hosted some concerts and stuff like that. Now, I don't know what in the world the Nassau Coliseum is still doing.
Yeah, I don't know how it still hasn't been knocked down yet, but I'm sure it's got a much, its days are limited, I would think.
Well, don't forget that it went through a $225 million renovation. They basically put a tin can on the outside of it and put wood beams inside of it to hold up the asbestos. Outside of that, they were supposed to put an outdoor amphitheater originally there. Yeah, there was supposed to be almost like a Jones Beach style outdoor concert venue there, but it's never happened.
They already have Jones Beach.
Hello, welcome to Long Island. This is what I mean.
It's nuts.
Nothing makes sense there. I mean, they wanted to put a casino there. They wanted to put a bunch of things. They just got to knock it down at this point. Lord,
they got to knock it down. What would have made sense is to bring the Islanders minor league team there. I think that would have made a lot of sense.
It does. I don't know if it's like Major League Baseball, the NHL, where there is there's like a distance rule that you can't have a minor league team within a certain distance from the major league team.
No way.
Yeah, MLB had something about that.
The Maple Leafs had the Toronto Marlies. I mean, and you see, I don't know. I don't think that would be such a big deal. Maybe not.
At last, I read that the ice rink in the Nassau Coliseum was still leaking into the basement. The pipes are still leaking down. So one day I'm just going to drive by that place, and it's just going to be like a cloud.
Yeah. Like, what happened? It just fell down overnight. No one knows. No one knows what happened.
That was my joke going into the whole thing. They built the UBS Arena literally, I say 10 minutes, and people have argued with me it's more than 10 minutes. But if you get every green light, it's 10 minutes from Elmont to where the current Coliseum is in Uniondale, if you get all the green lights on a Sunday morning at 4 a.m.
It's very close.
But things just make no sense on the Long Island. No sense here whatsoever. $17 billion a year in property taxes, and we got an arena sitting in the middle of nowhere doing absolutely nothing.
It's a shame. It's a shame. And the shame is they should have built the lighthouse thing. Like, it made so much sense.
Oh, yes.
That area needs to be rejuvenated. There's nothing there.
It's a great area. The Rexon Plaza, they wanted to put up 2 more of those glass buildings. I haven't been there in many years, but we used to go down there because the Christmas tree they had at Rexon Plaza was bigger than the one in Manhattan.
Really?
Yeah, it's got a beautiful ice rink right underneath the tree, just like the one in Rockefeller Center, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Oh, yeah, it was right in the middle of the 2 buildings. They took pictures, rent skates, just like it did in New York City. I don't know if they still do it, but this is, wow, it's probably 10 years ago we went over there at least. My kids were smaller, but it was beautiful. And yeah, that area does need something. A lot of areas here need something. And now, like I said, with these malls closing and the world changing like it is, it's not easy to live here, which is amazing that you moved down to Florida. I wish you nothing but the best down there. Again, people should follow you on Twitter. It's at Dan J. Friedman. Yes.
Yep.
In fact, I'll put that back up on the thing over here. Look at me with these video transitions. Oh, wait a minute. Where the hell did you go? Oh, now I got to move this one off. Wait a minute. Hey, I'm learning. There you are. Look at that. So definitely got to follow Daniel on Twitter. He's great. Always great on Twitter with a lot of information about all those various things. And what else are you doing now, writing wise? Like, who else do you write for and stuff?
So I write for Full Press NHL. That's where you can find my stuff. I'm still writing columns, mostly on the Islanders, but and occasionally on some other hockey related stuff. So you can definitely look out for my work there. I'll always tweet out links too. So, but it's at Full Press NHL if anybody wants to follow there as well, just to see what they're pumping out. Go
there and get that hockey news, baby. We're trying to get hockey more of uptick in this country. I don't want to see soccer surpass it. I don't think it ever will, but that's another thing. You got one soccer team playing in Yankee Stadium. You got another soccer team as I don't
Can't keep track. Yeah, can't keep track.
I'm lost. Well, Daniel, listen, I want to thank you for coming on. Really, it was an absolute pleasure to finally talk to you face to face after all these years.
Likewise.
And
Likewise.
I would love to have you on again whenever you want to come on. And you're great, man. Really, thank you so much.
No, my pleasure. We'll do it again.
We definitely will, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, so that's Daniel. Let me move this over here now, back to here. Let me get this transitioning into here. There we go. So that was Daniel. Let me close this. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Oh, great piece. Great talking to Daniel. He's really awesome. I love that kid. And I didn't even know he moved to Miami. That's great that he's down there in Florida doing his thing. And definitely, if you're an Islander fan or a hockey fan in general, follow him on Twitter. He's always great with the stuff that he talks about. So, beauty. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up. And boy, this was some fun. I'm actually happy things worked. I think they're working. I hope they're working. Who knows? I probably just talked for an hour and you people can't hear me. I have no idea. But yeah, we're going to come back next Saturday. We'll do another show. I'll see who I'm going to get. I have an idea who I'm going to get for my next guest. It all depends on how he's feeling about the Phillies being in the World Series, whether they're winning or losing. I didn't check the score, but we'll see. I'm going to ask him. So thanks everybody for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the little discussion, little bouncing back and forth with tech and news, and I'll get this thing down better, as I go along. It's a work in progress. I mean, yeah, look, I had 1 page of notes, so if anybody wants to come on, hit me up at SuBDivisionsTV@gmail.com, or text me, or call me, or smoke signals, and that's it. So subscribe on Twitter. It's on Twitter. Subscribe on YouTube, like on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, and yeah, man, thank you all for watching this show. I don't have any live reads. That's what I got to do. I got to live prepare with Compound Media. Look, I'm live reading somebody else's stuff. Are you prepared for the world to be blown up with nuclear war? Well, you got to have food, my friends. It's time to prepare with Compound Media. All right. So now let's see. I need an ending transition screen for this. Well, I'm going to leave you with my... what am I going to leave you with? Well, the side... But look at these effects that I put in. Here's a badass one, so I'll leave you with this. Night-night, everybody.